The Trump administration is invoking the state secrets privilege and refusing to turn over information about the deportation flights that sent Venezuelans to a maximum security prison in El Salvador.
We don't want them in our country. We can't let a judge say that he wants them.
A Wall Street Journal analysis of first-hand accounts, court documents, and flight tracking data reveals the administration's calculated effort to get planes off the ground before lawyers or a judge could halt their plans.
This facility is one of the tools in our toolkit that we will use if you commit crimes against the American people.
Several Venezuelan migrants narrowly avoided the flights, and one told us about his experience from detention.
Me decían que estuviera o no estuviera deportado eran órdenes del presidente, sacarnos del país ya. Que ya había sido una orden y ya no tenían que deportar.
As the legal battle intensifies, here's what really happened in the run-up to the flights. Back in early March, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, transferred a number of Venezuelans here to the El Valle detention facility in Raymondville, Texas. It's about a 30-minute drive from the airport in Harlingen, a hub for deportation flights. As lawyers scrambled to locate the migrants, news outlets began reporting that President Trump was expected to invoke a centuries-old law to speed up deportations of alleged Tren de Agua gang members from Venezuela, essentially without due process.
Just hours from now, the president could start using a 227-year-old law.
The Trump administration's expected plan to escalate its immigration crackdown.
He could be invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798.
By Friday morning, March 14th, flight tracking data shows 3 ICE-chartered planes, the ones that eventually went to El Salvador, staged at the airport in Harlingen. Migrants say they were supposed to be deported that day, but were told there was a problem with the plane. Daniel Matos, who came to the U.S. seeking asylum with his daughter and denies being part of a gang, was one of them.
Salimos a las 5 de la mañana, nos despertaron los oficiales y nos dijeron que recogiéramos nuestras cosas que nos íbamos. Nunca nos sacaron de la celda porque supuestamente el avión no había pasado el chequeo mecánico.
The Journal was unable to confirm exactly what caused the delay, but on Friday, those deportation flights didn't take off. And back in Washington, President Trump didn't publicly invoke the act in a speech that afternoon, as many had expected. But he did hint at the upcoming operation, which would unfold the next day.
We've caught hundreds of them, the Venezuelan gang, which is as bad as it gets, and you'll be reading a lot of stories tomorrow about what we've done with them.
The delayed flights allowed a small window for legal action. And early Saturday, the ACLU filed a lawsuit over the expected use of the Alien Enemies Act. What the ACLU and others didn't know was that the invocation of the act had already been signed the day before, but not shared publicly by the White House. Here's where things start moving fast. Judge James Boasberg was assigned to the case, and around 10 a.m. Eastern, he called a hearing for later that day. Around the same time in Texas, ICE was moving forward with the deportations.
Nos volvieron a llamar a las 10 de la mañana, pero esta vez sí nos subieron al autobús. Nos esposaron, nos pusieron nuestros grilletes y todo era muy rápido, apurado, todo era apurado. Suban rápido, hagan esto, pum, recoge. Estaban demasiado apurados.
At 1:18 p.m., satellite imagery shows the 3 planes being serviced at the airport. Then at 2:31, after noticing that 2 flights were scheduled, immigration advocate Thomas Cartwright sounded an alarm, posting 2 highly unusual ICE flights showing up now from Harlingen to El Salvador. By 3:36, buses are on the way to the airport. This video was taken by one of Matos's lawyers, Jaime Diaz, after he drove to El Valle to see if his client was still there.
I saw that there was a lot of activity, that there was something happening that was pretty major. So I saw that the bus was being loaded, and I also saw the helicopter take off. And they told me, you cannot go in.
Around that time, Matos was being loaded onto one of the buses.
Helicópteros nos iban escoltando hasta el aeropuerto y nos llevaban escoltados como si fuéramos altos criminales. Le preguntamos al oficial de ICE que nos decía que él no sabía dónde nos iba a enviar. Que bien él sabía que era México o Venezuela, pero era calle. Nunca nos hablaron de El Salvador.
By the time the White House posted the proclamation invoking the Alien Enemies Act at 3:53, at least 2 buses had already left for the airport. At 5 p.m., the hearing in the ACLU case began. 22 minutes later, the court took a break so a Trump administration lawyer who said he didn't have knowledge about planned flights that day could get more information. 3 minutes after that, the first flight took off. 20 minutes later, a second flight. Around 6:50, the judge issued a temporary restraining order and said any plane containing these folks that's going to take off or is in the air needs to be returned to the United States. The planes did not turn around, and a third plane took off at 7:36. The government has argued that the first two flights were already off U.S. soil, and the people on the third plane had final deportation orders and weren't deported under the Alien Enemies Act. Ultimately, Matos and several others were not sent to El Salvador. Just before the flights, a judge had approved a temporary restraining order in his case, blocking his deportation.
Me gustaría que mi caso se diera legalmente, no por ser venezolano quieran arremeter contra mí.
Hours after speaking with the Journal, Matos was placed in a form of solitary confinement, according to his lawyers. They said he was moved to an individual cell with restricted visitation. ICE did not respond to requests for comment about our story or Matos's case. The White House and the Department of Homeland Security didn't respond to our requests for comment either, but the administration has defended its move.
It's basic public safety. Get these people out of our country as fast as we can.
Dealing a setback to the administration, a federal appeals court upheld Judge Boasberg's temporary restraining order on March 26th, which for now prevents the Trump administration from restarting deportation flights under the Alien Enemies Act.